Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Went kind of long because I'm still preparing, or I was still preparing the show. Anyway, we are going to have a great time. Welcome aboard. We've got Yvette Avery Herod. How is our beautiful Yvette Avery Herod doing? We all from Atlanta, Georgia. AVQ. Where is the stuff you normally start us with, AVQ? Oh, you're busy today. I see that. Michael Rudnin, busy for the day, as well as Melanie Keelan. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Michael Rudnins from Brooklyn, New York. We also have Lee Grant in the house, Montgomery County. And of course, the one and only Melissa Bowie from Pasadena, Texas. I think it's Pasadena, right, Melissa? I think it's Pasadena, Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Did y'all see what McCain husband said about Gratz Gates? What's up, everybody? No, what did he say? I know that we're trying to release all his stuff because he likes 17-year-old girls. The guy's a imagine. Listen to this. We have a pervert, a crook, a thug, a felon, a convicted felon elected as president who wants to check it out. Who wants to make the attorney general a sex offender, somebody who has been accused of child molestation, right? Because, of course, a 17-year-old girl is what he wants to mess with. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Talk about a corrupt government, right? Anyway, Tom C is in the house. So, Melanie, where did you move to, girl? You said you're not in Pasadena, Mas. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde vives? ¿En qué ciudad? What city? All right, let's see what else we got here. We got Tom C is in from Michigan, and we have who else just joined? Maywood from Long Beach, California. Hey, my mind is still working today. My mind is still working today. And J Forever. J Forever, where are you from? Where are you from, J Forever? Okay, anyhow. Para ver dónde estoy. Anyway, we got a great show for you today, guys. I mean, a great show. Listen to this. I'm going to start with a piece that I did at KPFT yesterday, and OC California, Orange County. Oh, you are in a Republican district, eh? Orange County, California. Now, are you green? Are you blue? Or are you red, J Forever? Are you a progressive? Are you a conservative? Or are you MAGA? Let's see what our count is for today. Our count for today is, so far, I see 2 MAGAs, 6 progressives, I think, if I'm counting right. But J Forever, what are you? I'm curious. We love everybody, so you're right at home right here as well. Carl Cox is in the house as well. Hey, Carl, how you doing, brother? Let's see what else we got. Lee the Bearcat. I love that name, Lee the Bearcat. All right, I tell you what. Let's do a game here. I want everybody to write something in the chat. Either write progressive, conservative, or MAGA. I want to see who you are, who you say that you are. So far, J4 has answered. J4 says progressive. Okay, Lee the Bearcat says American is what I am. I know, but where do you lean as far as ideology? We're all Americans. Michael Rudnin, progressive green. All right, what else we got here? Who else? Come on. Gene Daigle, progressive. All right, what else we got here? Come on, folks. Let's go. J Forever, progressive. I like that. Where are my conservatives and where are my MAGAs? Come on. I'm waiting. Type it into it. Tom C, progressive. Carl Cox, progressive. Lee the Bearcat, middle of the road. So I should have said moderate as well. Thank you, Lee Bearcat, for correcting me. So moderate for Lee Bearcat. What else have we got? Who else? Come on. Come on, guys. Sign up. Sign the sheet. Sign the sheet. Macaroni says, Melissa, the term you're describing is Pakanate, ruled by organized criminals. Ah, never heard the word, Michael. Had not heard that word before. All right, come on, folks. Register yourself as MAGA, conservative, progressive. Lee Grant says conservative, libertarian, constitutionalist. Lee, why do you have to be complicated? But I know where you're from, man. I always read you as being libertarian. I always read you as being libertarian. So that was good in my head. All right, let's see. And Maywood says moderately conservative, progressive. Wow. Yvette Avery Herod says progressive. All right, let's see what else. Who else we got here? I don't think Eric has registered himself yet. Okay. All right. Let's get busy. I want you to see this interaction that I had with one of my MAGA buddies at the radio station. I think it was a good informational thing. I think Bridge MCP would love this if she came today. Every morning at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, I have my program called Politics Done Right on KPFT 90.1 FM in Houston. It's carried on the internet as well, so you can see it any part of the world that you're in. And if you're in Texas, all of Northeast and Southeast Texas, as well as sometimes the Northeast and Northwest Louisiana, you can pick the program up. Anyway, as you know, we get a lot of calls every day. And this particular caller was a Trump supporter, and he liked that I said, let's give Trump and his peons full latitude to take the country. And the reason why is we in that studio understand that Donald Trump, their policies that they support will really tank the economy, will not be good for the average working class person, middle class, or poor. We know that for a fact, but we want to make sure that Trump has no excuses. If the Democrats happen to have won the Congress, he could say the reason why he failed was because of the Congress. We want him to have the entire government to do his thing. Now, this caller thanked me for saying that. But in the process of thanking me, I wanted to query why he thought Donald Trump was a good president. And as you will hear in the subsequent interview that we did with him that follows right now, he was unable to give one thing that Trump was good for, which stands to question, why are people really voting for Trump? Is it simply that they believe the lies that the Trump has told them, or it is otherwise? I know it is otherwise, but let's go ahead and listen to this now, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're on.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my brother. Talk to me.
The thing that you just said a minute ago, and I really like what you said, that let's give him a chance at least and see where it goes. That's a good attitude, and majority of those liberal people are so up and tight. I believe what Bard said, that it's a syndrome where they hate Trump so much that it's a sickness. But
Jeff, look, no, we don't. Look, it's not about giving them a chance, Jeff. They earned their chance. However they got there, I think they used a whole lot of lies to get there, but that's fine. There are enough people that were gullible enough to buy it. Now, that's fine. They won it. They've got to govern, and I want them to blow up the filibuster, because I want them to use their power. Okay? I want them to use their power. Now, here's the thing, Jeff. Here's the thing. We put somebody into power, again, that we know is morally defective, that we know have done illegal things. Not that we think they have done illegal things, not that we think they have defied the Constitution. We know that. And that person was up against a competent human being. Okay? That is the heights of privilege. Do you think any other person could have achieved that goal? Jeff, answer me that.
Okay, let me.
That's Jeff, that's a yes, brother Jeff. That's a yes or no question. I don't want to filibuster. I'm asking you, if Barack Obama had done everything that Trump had done, would he have been elected president? We have an example, by the way. Robinson in North Carolina couldn't pass the Trump test. But go ahead, make your point, sir.
Well, I think, if anybody, I think it would have been slid underneath the covers if Obama had the same history as Trump did. I don't think that it would have been full court press on it like
Really?
they did on.
Okay, let me stop. Okay, stop, Jeff. I want you to be mentally honest. Obama was hit about. Wait, hold on. Wait, listen to me, Jeff. I'm asking you kindly and civilly because this is important. A lot of people lie to themselves, and I'm asking us to have a psychological involvement here. You're lying to yourself. Listen to this. Obama's mother was a white woman from Kansas. Obama's father was a Kenyan. The media made an issue out of Obama being a natural born citizen when the only definition of a natural born citizen is having had an American, one of your parents being American. And that made a story. That was no story ever. And you accepted that. Let's go a bit further. Obama was treated on issue after issue for not doing bad things, for doing things. He never did the things that Donald Trump. So how can you possibly, with a straight face and an even mind, say they would have put things under the rug for Obama, but not for Trump? Do you really buy into a statement like that, brother? Can you really tell me that your mind allows you to think through that mechanism?
Okay, I agree with you on that Trump's not a good guy. I'll tell you that right now off the bat.
Okay, but you chose the good guy. You chose somebody that's not a good guy with a woman, a black Asian woman who is competent. What in your head? We're civilly talking here. What in your head told you that it was okay for America in the national sphere, in the international sphere, to elect a criminal, a thug, over somebody who may not agree with you ideologically, but means you no harm? How could you do that?
I think that she's a weak person when it would come to dealing with or any foreign,
What makes you?
Let me.
Wait, hold on, Neil. Hold on. Jeff,
Sure.
What makes you believe that she is weak? Who told you she was weak?
I mean, the way she comes off.
Okay, stop for a second. This is a woman who was a prosecutor in California, went up against the mob. Please tell me how Donald Trump never did any of that. Donald Trump never went up at the mob. Donald Trump had no military experience. Donald Trump had no legal experience. What within your psyche allowed you to believe that because this was a person that somehow was stronger? Donald Trump has proven to be weak. How did you come to that conclusion, brother?
Donald Trump, he's not a nice guy, but I think his policies are sound. Those 4 years.
Okay, stop. What policy? What policy helps you? You talk about policy. Which one of Trump's policies helps you?
The oil and gas.
The one and what? Say that again. I didn't hear you. Which gas? What foreign? Yes. Please tell me specifically. Don't just tell me a narrative. Specifically, what did Trump do that helped you?
Well, I made money off the stock market. I know that.
Okay. Stop there. The stock market went up much higher under Biden. Under Biden, Harris, the stock market went up much higher. And not only that, under Trump, your stocks crashed in 2020. Your stocks crashed in 2020 under Trump. And then it made itself back up. Come on. And when did it make itself back up? It made itself back up after Biden restored the economy. What I'm trying to tell you, Jeff, is the following. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not asking you these things that I'm telling you here. I am telling you these things as a statement of fact. There is something else happening in your psyche that makes you believe Trump helped you when he didn't. The only policy that Trump passed was a tax cut, mostly for wealthy people. And he also passed a tariff on China, which increased the prices of products from China. That's it. That's the only policy. Everything else was on the Obama trajectory. I have the charts that you can see. The minimalist thing with Jeff is that he made two important points. She wasn't as strong. He knows Trump is a bad guy. She wasn't as strong. and also he liked
Right.
his policies. And here's
No,
the
you
thing.
made the case.
I
You made a
I
great case.
no, I want Jeff to come back. I want Jeff to tell me what specific policy helped
Right.
him, because he hasn't yet informed me. Jeff, it's on you, my brother.
Can I call back tomorrow and give you that answer?
Yes, you can. And guess what? No, actually, we look. Here's the deal, Jeff. Jeff, here's the deal. The fact that you can't tell me this answer now, but you have already voted, tells me that the vote wasn't an informed vote. But that's okay. You still think that there's something in your gut that made you want to vote for Trump, and I want us to examine that together. So do come back tomorrow, and I will throw you at the front of the queue with what Trump did that helped you. Because what I'm going to prove to you, Jeff, and just as honest as I am with you, I want you to be honest with me. I am going to prove to you that Donald Trump is a clear and present danger, not only to you, but the entire country. All right?
Well, yes, it's on. And I just want to say that, he won in a landslide, and the people.
Okay. Again. That when I talk about misinformation, this is what I'm talking about. By the end of first of all, in 2016, he lost by 3 million votes. In 2020, he lost by 7 million votes. In 2024, he will win by likely between 2.5 and 3 million votes in a vote pool of over 140 million. That is not a landslide, no matter how you look at it. If you want to know what a landslide look at Reagan's win in 1984, or look at Nixon's win, or look at Johnson's win. That's what landslides look like. Do not buy into the lies. We have to be talking facts per facts. This was a close election within 1.5 points, and between 1.5 and 2 points. That's not a landslide. Okay?
Yeah.
That's
real quick.
Wait, hold on. Wait, Jeff. Do you, now that I've given you the numbers, do you accept that it's not a landslide?
I always verify first.
Well, assuming what I'm saying is correct, will you stop calling it a landslide?
There's a possibility, yes.
Oh, good. All right, good. All I want to be is educational for all of us. Thank you, brother. I'm waiting for your call tomorrow. Look, it is clear. People needed to have an excuse not to vote for Kamala Harris because of their own personal prejudices. And I'm talking about a large percentage of Americans. They needed an excuse to vote for Donald Trump because they did not want to vote for Kamala Harris. And the lies that Donald Trump told, he knew what he was doing. He knew that the lies were something that some people that just were uncomfortable for whatever carnal reason, uncomfortable for voting for Kamala Harris, would hold on to justify their votes. That is the reason why this guy voted, because as you can see, everything he thought he knew was completely deconstructed. And the reason it was completely disconstructed is that Donald Trump has always been a failure. It was a failure and has been a failure exposed to everyone. And the only thing they could grab onto to justify a vote for Donald Trump was to try to hold on to a lie with the expectation that electing him while denying Kamala Harris the position, at least maybe he won't do damage irreversibly. Well, folks, the damage that he'll be doing, while maybe not irreversible, will put us back for a long time to recover when his administration is over. Good luck. But we will sleep in what we've created. Absolutely so. And the best statement is from Yvette Avery Herod, who says, "This is insanity at its finest. Just say the truth of why you voted for him. It's obvious. It is obvious." And Gene Daigle answers Yvette with the actual reason. Racism, sexism, misogyny, call it what it is. There is nobody that's going to convince me that somehow uh, America was willing to put a thug, a thief, a convicted felon, a rapist, and all these all at once. You can call Patrick. Please feel free to do so. And likewise, Carl Cox, you can call if you want to make your points as well. Carl Cox, I just saw your text there. You can call for and you can talk directly on air. But yeah, by the way, Bridge MCP put that on. I'm so old that I can remember when America had presidents and attorneys general who didn't have mugshots. Look at that. Imagine that. Attorney general and president with a mugshot. People, the only way, the only way that could happen, that America would feel safe putting thugs in the office, is that they're recessive. And again, like I said, some of it may be not, some of the racism, you may not know what it is, but it's there. That's the only reason you put a thug into office. My dear brother, Patrick, what's going on, brother?
Good afternoon, everybody. How are y'all?
We're doing great. Talk to me.
I sent you an email earlier where I was going to talk a little bit about that. I sent you some pictures from El Paso, but before that, I've been taking the same approach to the people that seem happy that Trump has got elected, and I just asked them, well, what do you think is going to change? Oh, the economy's going to get great. The economy's going to get great. Well, you can answer that. Three-way,
Okay, yeah.
or I can wait my turn.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do that. All right. And let's see if I can connect these calls. Remember, I'm still learning. All right. Great. I think I connected them all. Okay. So keep talking now. Hey, Ray, hold on a second as Patrick is talking right now. But go on, Patrick.
Oh, tell Ray I said hello.
Oh, Ray, he can hear you.
Hello, Ray.
Hey, Patrick.
I like the work you do. I like hearing from you, and I think we think a lot alike. I'm still getting the economy, and Forbes maybe about a month ago said that we were on track for the roaring 20s again. They said the economy's on fire. A number of other economic papers said the same thing. Said that we are dominating the world as far as the recovery from COVID came about. China is in a mess right now. There's almost double-digit inflation in a lot of places in Europe. The caller at the end of the day yesterday was, I believe, CFAC, and when he said that the interest rate or inflation rate was around 2.1, he said no, it's 3. I went back and looked because I got 2.4 a couple months ago, and I found 2.2. The highest I found was 2.6. So he can't even be truthful about it, or he can't research his own.
Look, no. Here's the problem.
And 3% wouldn't have been bad anyway.
No, it wouldn't have been. But you see, Patrick, these guys depend on lies. That is, I'm playing another piece called VP Kamala Harris got beaten by psychological warfare. That's the next piece I'm going to play. But before I bring, stay with me, Patrick. I want to bring in Ray. But before Ray talks, I want to read something that Brother Rudnin says. He says, Egberto, please read this out. Lee Grant, show me because Lee Grant is claiming that Kamala Harris has been very woke, right? So Brother Grant doesn't get it. Brother Grant is continuing to read the right-wing junk, right? Because it's their lies. But here's what Rudnin says. Lee Grant, show me a clip where Kamala Harris said something woke. Don't post any pundits, just a direct clip quoting her. Hint, you're going to have a hard time because Harris didn't actually run on anything woke. They'll have to pull back old tapes when to try to bring something of the past that she doesn't represent. Just like we could bring back old tapes of Donald Trump saying, I am for abortion, or I think the Democrats do better than Republicans for the economy. We actually have Donald Trump on tape saying Democrats are better for the economy. Donald Trump is on tape saying Democrats are better for the economy. But let's bring Ray into the discussion. Come on in, Ray.
Yeah, Egberto, I'm gonna need you to run that video because his loyal base needs to find out how much of a fraud he is. Not that it matters anymore, but I mean, basically, I was listening to that caller, and I second it, to the highest when I say, he couldn't hide his sexism and his racism. It was very, and the thing about it is, it's the dog whistle language for me. The
Right.
dog whistle language I heard was, she's weak. I don't think she's strong. That is an automatic misogynistic cue that I heard saying just because she's a woman, she can't stand in the room full of male leaders, full of testosterone, and she just won't be able to handle it. And on
But
that
Ray,
note,
and here's Ray, here's what's so curious about that, Ray. Sorry to interrupt you. We have a slight delay. But here's what's so curious about that, brother Ray. It turns out that when they met the first time they met face to face in a debate, she cleaned his clock. So,
Absolutely.
exactly.
they live in a different realm. They tell themselves things and they have to try to believe the things that they say. It's amazing. So,
It's mental gymnastics is what it is.
exactly. I put this clip on Daily Kos, that interview that exchange that I had with the guy. We had one person on Daily Kos that said, "But you didn't give him a chance to talk," and I said, "That's not true. I didn't allow them to chain sentences together because what the right wing does all the time is they chain a whole lot of lies together, and you find yourself only attacking some of the lies, which means other lies get into the ethos without recognition." So notice my technique now for dealing with these liars in chief is as soon as they make a false statement, I stop them, answer the false statement, and then let them go with the next false statement, and I handle them one at a time. But it seems like I'm interrupting so often because every single statement out of their mouth is a lie. So you have to correct every statement. Everybody, that I want you to listen to that interview again and notice that everything that came out of Jeff's mouth had to be corrected. We had to correct his stuff about the landslide. We had to correct the stuff about the economy. We had to correct one at a time, correction after correction. But if we allowed him to string that all along, some of the things would get missed. Anything else, Ray, before we go back to Patrick?
Yeah, well, I hope Tucker Carlson, has the answer, but of course I don't think he will, because he bought into that misogynistic garbage when he was talking about she's been a bad girl and she needs to be spanked and all that.
Oh
and
man, yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine some of your MAGA listeners were sitting there finding that all a bit, entertaining. But you know what? I feel like, they gonna FAFO, and that's what we sitting back and that's what we gonna do. We gonna let them FAFO. And
I want y'all to listen to the next video because the thing that we have to do, right? I tell you what, before I do that, I'm going to play the Lawrence O'Donnell video first, and then I'm going to go about with the psychological warfare second. So I want y'all to hang up on the. Wait, first of all, Patrick, do you have anything else to say before I go to the video?
I have a lot, but if you really want to give this video, that's fine. I'll call back another day. I was going to talk about the wall. I'd like to talk about strength for just a second. How does the right characterize strength? Is it rising up against all odds? Is it accomplishing more than most of the people of the opposite gender? Or is it forcing people to do something? Because China figured out that our approach, the quote-unquote strength, doesn't work. And that's why they're becoming the new economy of the world. They go in and they're nice to third world countries and they contribute to them, and then they're invited in with no questions asked. What is strength getting us? What is strength getting us?
You nailed, hey Patrick, you nailed it. But you know what, Patrick? That entire discussion about strength through enticement, etc. Let's hold that for another day. But you're so right about that. Beforehand, though, I want to put Brigi's second item on the screen, which says, oh wait, I had it on the screen. Brige, what did? Oh, there it goes. The Reform Party nativity scene. No unmarried mothers, no Middle Eastern people, no refugees, no people seeking emergency accommodation, and definitely no wise men. Oh my God, you're terrible, Bridge MCP. But anyhow, hey guys, let me go ahead and play these other two videos, and then we'll finish up afterwards. Okay?
Sounds great.
All right, guy. All right. Okay, folks. I want you to listen to this video from Lawrence O'Donnell, because what it shows exactly, Melanie, hard versus soft diplomacy. It shows exactly the shorthand that Biden got. Let's listen to this and then we'll move to the next one. To me, it is clear that the Democratic establishment has got to be charged with malpractice. They have got to be charged with malpractice. Look, the last people to blame in general should be the population at large. Yes, you've heard me state categorically that Kamala Harris lost the election, not because of policy specifically, but because of gender and race. I stick with that. But here's the kicker. The Democratic establishment gave these folks who knew better but still voted against her the excuse to do so. Let me elaborate a bit. You know, I had a whole lot of Panamanians, my group, Antex had a whole lot of Panamanians over. We celebrated Veterans Day. We wanted to celebrate all the Panamanians who lost their lives, who've shed blood for this country, given Trump's behavior or belief that somehow those people south of the border are animals, criminals who are no use to this country. Well, we wanted to show that, yeah, most of us from south of the border actually come to this country, defend this country, and make this country what it is. But as I'm taking them back, Roberto and myself, we're taking them back to the airport. And we're seeing all these construction projects. Some of them are before the infrastructure deal, but a lot of them are since the infrastructure deal. Let me first qualify something here. In Texas, recently, all these freeways that we've been building for all practical purposes were toll roads. We have an evil state government that pretty much cuts taxes for the wealthy and the corporations, but when it comes to highways, etc., we yet pay the corporations to build the highways and to run the highways, which means we pay an additional tax to use our freeways here, especially those in Central Texas that are being built near Austin, etc. So we are on our trip to Austin, and I'm seeing all these construction projects, and I've seen hundreds, thousands of people working, good paying jobs here in Texas, a red state. But still, there was no sign that said courtesy of the infrastructure bill signed by Joe Biden. Of course, when the Democratic Congress passed the bill after Donald Trump crashed the economy with his response to COVID-19, he wanted those checks that he didn't want to give in the first place, that the Democratic Party said we needed to give Americans relief while this pandemic is on. Okay, I'll do it, but you have to sign Donald Trump on it. But all these infrastructure projects, all these chip plants that are being built, no Biden's name on it, no Democratic Party, led solely by the Democratic Party. The CHIPS bill, only support by the Democratic Party. The IRA, only support by the Democratic Party. The infrastructure bill, bipartisan. And then here's the kicker. The infrastructure bill and most of these bills, most of the monies for these bills go into red states. Why? Because they're the poorer states. They're the most needy states. They're the states that need the most. So all these big bills went into the red states, but there was no sign that said brought to you courtesy of the Biden administration. But yet, as the sign-in for all these projects are being there, the same Republican politicians who voted against them are there at the opening, and the people in those red states reward these people who didn't want to give them the bill, reward them with re-election, many of them with re-election. And for all the things that Donald Trump was unable to do, he had infrastructure project. Every week there was an infrastructure project, never got it done, never got it executed. Biden comes in, first year, gets the infrastructure project done, and now we're watching the fruits of that labor. We are watching, after 4 years, the success of the infrastructure bill, the success of the Inflation Reduction Act, the success of the CHIPS Act, and on and on and on. And there are so many policies that came into play. Donald Trump only did 3 of any substance. And yet, people claim they were voting for Donald Trump, the criminal, the thug, the rapist, over Kamala Harris because they liked his policies and they thought he would be better for the economy. Well, like I said, the Democratic Party should be charged with malpractice because these people just weren't seeing in boldface what the Biden administration did. And in the process, they gave people who needed a reason to fight, to execute their prejudice on Kamala for her gender and race. They needed an excuse. So ignorance was their excuse. Ignorance of not knowing what was done during the Biden administration, and the malpractice of the Democratic Party not to force it into their minds gave them the excuse for their prejudices to come out and say, I will vote for the thug, the rapist, over the intellect, over the smart woman, over the woman who can speak. Well, a little too late, but it's still and hurtful when seen. I want you to listen to this piece by El Señor Lawrence O'Donnell, because it lays it out as it should. Then we'll take it on the other side.
Instead of getting drowned in that fire hose tonight, we are going to begin what I hope is a series of reports to voters that are absolutely critical to voter participation in a democracy. Most important thing to know when you look at a ballot is what you are voting for. And that isn't easy to do because your only choice on the ballot is who you are voting for. Many voters mistakenly thought when they voted for Donald Trump that they were voting for someone who would get things done in their community. That's because most of us, and that very much includes me, don't always know who to credit for the good things or the bad things that government has done. Who did that? Who built that new bridge? Who rebuilt our airport to make it a state-of-the-art airport? Why did that new chips factory locate in that town? Who did that? The answers to those questions are critical to informed voter participation in a democracy. People will automatically get refunds from airlines next year when their flights are canceled, and they won't know that Joe Biden did that. People will be driving over bridges with their kids in the back seat, not knowing that that bridge was rebuilt and made safer by Joe Biden. It would take much more than the full hour of this program to describe what Joe Biden did as president of the United States. But for most other presidents, it would take less than an hour to describe what they did in the presidency. Donald Trump, in 4 years, did tax cuts and tariffs that raised prices, and he built a little bit of wall at the southern border. Not 2,300 miles of border wall, just a tiny fraction of that. That's what he did. You have probably heard many times on this program that what Joe Biden built as president compares only to what Franklin Delano Roosevelt did in 12 years in the presidency before there were term limits for president. President Roosevelt's revolutionary program that changed everything about the way we live in America was called the New Deal. The most poverty-stricken group of Americans in the 1930s were the elderly. President Roosevelt created Social Security and provided a financial security minimum for people over 65 that never existed before. President Roosevelt enacted the first minimum wage, massive infrastructure spending all over the country that provided jobs and improved communities all over, everywhere we live in this country. Donald Trump kept promising an infrastructure bill when he was president and kept having infrastructure weeks and did absolutely nothing. The Trump administration didn't write one sentence of an infrastructure bill, never mind have a vote on it. There should be a name for what Joe Biden did. Franklin Roosevelt came up with the name the New Deal when he was running for president for the first time in 1932, in the middle of the worst depression in the 20th century. He promised America what he called a New Deal for the American people. The phrase caught on right away, and reporters began referring to the New Deal in the first year of the Roosevelt presidency. And we still talk about it today as the most important turning point in the definition of what was possible in American government. What Joe Biden did should have a name like that. Everyone knew what you meant when you were talking about the New Deal in 1934 or 1944 or 1954. Our next guest has a name for what Joe Biden did.
President Biden understands that policy is about everyday life.
The middle class built the country.
It's about people.
And unions built the middle class.
He doesn't just see a road or a bridge. He sees somebody's commute home back to their family. He doesn't just see ships and ports and supply chains. He sees ways for us to get the things we count on at the grocery store. That's what all of this is actually about. Taking together a belief in how to use government to solve problems, a recognition of what we were up against, and a level of ambition. I think all of that is what has added up into the enormous progress that we've made in recent years. Something collectively I like to think of as the big deal.
Now, my question to you again, now that you are seeing what a new Donald Trump administration is starting to be, Matt Gaetz says, Attorney General? Really? A clown as defense secretary? Oh my God, it's a caricature. It's a car full of clowns that's taken leadership position in the Trump administration. So we're leaving competence to incompetence. We're leaving successful a government that knows how to execute successfully versus somebody who allowed COVID to destroy our economy. Do we have a price to pay for what we voted into office? And for those who used their prejudice, that was on a facade of wanting his policies because his policies you thought were better. I mean, categorically or factually wrong, but you thought that. God help us. God help us for how 50.2% of Americans have screwed up. And it's on you. Your gullibility, we are going to have to live through for 4 years. Competence versus incompetence. Truthfulness over lies. But instead, we get the lies, we get the immorality, we get the dishonesty, we get the fraud, we get the authoritativeness, because again, you just couldn't get past your prejudice. You just couldn't get past your prejudice. And I put that Breach MCP stuff on the screen again. That these would be the two highest law enforcers in our country if somehow Gates gets recess appointed. Think about that. Those are the look, for those who don't know the Constitution. For those who don't know the Constitution, there are three branches of government: the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. The legislative makes the laws. The judiciary interprets the law, and the executive executes the laws. Okay, so they would be the one making sure the laws are executed. The one Donald Trump would be the one making sure the laws are executed, and the guy on the right would be the one who would be going to the judges and saying, "Hey, they're doing something illegally, and I need to have you I need to charge them." Two crooks. Two crooks. My God, the joke that we have become internationally. The joke that we have become internationally. It's pathetic. Breach says, Egberto Willis, Trump has still not signed the new ethics law. He won't sign that. He definitely won't sign that. So if he does not, it's a lame duck president. He can do nothing. Written by Elizabeth Warren. He must show all to be president. Well, again, somebody has to enforce that. And given that they have full control of the government, there's nobody that's going to enforce that bridge MCP. We have to understand that the only way out right now is for Donald Trump to be, for 4 years later, we make sure no Republican hold those positions. For 2 years later, that we take back the Senate and the House. 4 years later, we make sure and elect a progressive Democrat. That's all we are left with. We have 2 years of disaster that we have to be ready for. I repeat, buckle up, 2 years, and then we sweep the Congress and the Senate out of office, because it's going to be it will be such a, what do we call it, a Robin type of a place. But anyway, look, it looks like I'm going to go a little bit over, because I want to play the next video, which is about 11 minutes long. So here we go. We're going to go over by a minute or two, but I think you guys can handle that. Here we go. Yesterday or a few days ago, I wrote a blog where I stated that both the media and the Democratic Party committed malpractice, for this election. Kamala should not have lost the election, and worse is these entities were complicit, not necessarily that they wanted that to happen, but just for their dereliction of duty. First of all, we understand that the mainstream media is no friend of neither progressives or the Democratic Party. In fact, they serve one purpose and one purpose only: to give just superficial information and information that will not prove very damaging to their benefactors, meaning to the people who advertise on their networks. So we don't really get the in-depth analysis of what's going on. If you take a look at Donald Trump and what he has represented for eons, there is no way he would have even become close to being a candidate for president. But again, we know that this country affords certain people privileges that others will never get, that others can never attain, and thus others have to work twice as hard for half as much. Now, that a snippet of this comes out in a newspaper and that it is broadcast on MSNBC, what's considered one of the stations that are more likely to print or post or talk about issues that are more progressive, if you will. It was great to see that at least they touched on the story that was one of the reasons why many people didn't come out to vote, because of a psychological impact of certain ads, not only on TV, but elsewhere, because I saw them and I've spoken about them before. So what are we talking about? We're talking about targeted micro-targeting. In effect, sending different ads specifically to different people by class, by race, by culture, etc., and targeting that message. In the case of what Trump's put out, lies about things that they know would cause select folks in that group to either attenuate or stop the voting altogether. And if you take a look at our voting patterns this year relative to 2020, when we have big issues, it kind of gives you a reason why. So yes, the thing about it is that Trump had all the right to lie. He had all the right to put this kind of messaging out, because that's just how our silly country works. We allow people to lie and damage no matter what under the pretext of free speech. I think free speech should also be coaxed with free, truthful speech, not free lies that can have material effects on people. But I didn't write the Constitution. Now, I want you to listen to this speech because I think it was fairly well done. And I think if we understand what's going on here, we should also ask why it is that the Democratic Party and the media hadn't talked about this way before. In other words, when folks saw these ads going on, why didn't they come out and knock them for what they were? Not just propaganda, but in effect, psychological warfare. Check this out, and then we'll take it at the other side.
Today, we're learning new details about a dark money effort that provides a warning and could change political campaigns going forward. It's the Washington Post reporting $45 million spent by advisors to Elon Musk for ads that targeted liberals, Jews, Muslims, black voters, with ads that were not quite what they seemed in the run-up to last week's election between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Here are a few other ads.
Kamala Harris and D.C. Democrats are coming after your menthol cigarettes.
The worst part is, Kamala Harris talks out of both sides of her mouth. She said she'd give us free health care. Then she gave up.
It's so disappointing.
Yeah, total 180 from when she ran in 2020. I thought she'd be like Bernie.
Joining me now, one of the reporters behind that story, Michael Shear of the Washington Post. It's always good to see you, Michael. This is really a window, I think, into what can be done now, what's being done, and what might happen in the future. Tell us more about these ads and how they were designed to work.
Yeah, so these ads come out of research that started at the beginning of the year that basically concluded on the Republican side what Democrats had also been seeing, which is there weren't a lot of persuadable voters in this election. Really, the persuasion targets were progressives or conservatives, Trump or Harris voters who weren't sure whether or not they would vote. So most of these ads focused on trying to influence whether or not someone voted. And they did it by concealing why they were advertising, or sort of doing a shuck and jive here to deceive people into knowing what they were advertising. So, Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan were getting ads that looked like ads targeted towards Zionists. The aim was to make them think that Kamala Harris was totally in the pocket of the Israeli government, had no sympathy for the Palestinian cause. On the flip side, the same group was advertising to Jews in Pennsylvania, saying that she doesn't want to give arms to Israel. You just showed one of the ads there. There was a whole series of ads targeted at Bernie Sanders supporters, and the message there was she should be more left. She should be further left. And there was another set of ads from a group that was called Progress 2028 that sort of misled people about what her positions were, made her seem far more liberal than she was, and it was targeted at conservative voters.
You reported that the goal here was to make up, in a way, for being outspent by Democrats in the digital space. What does this portend for the future for campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, campaigns have been deceptive for as long as there have been campaigns, so that's not new. What is new is the ability to target ads so specifically. Digital advertising, a lot of this was direct mail and digital. The data that the campaigns and the outside groups have about who voters are and what interests them has just become incredibly good over, the last 3 or 4 cycles. And so you really know what motivates an individual voter, and you can serve those individuals or those neighborhoods or those communities directly on Google, on Facebook, with direct mail. And so I think that's what's going on here. I mean, this was one group spending $45 million through 5 or 6 different brands and a dozen different messages. I mean, I haven't mentioned that there were ads that sort of looked like progressive ads running at black voters in North Carolina, complaining about Biden and Harris efforts to ban menthol cigarettes. There were also, other ads run at white voters in the Midwest, young, working class white voters who basically, made the claim that if Harris is elected, your Zyn nicotine pouches will be taken away. So, all of this was done at sort of the micro level. And I mean, the other innovation here, and this has only been true for a few cycles now, is we don't know who paid for this. This was a dark money group paid for, with a 501c4 group. And so there's just no way of knowing exactly who was behind that.
So, yes, Kamala Harris lost the election. Why did she lose? There are a lot of factors. We know the main factor why she lost had nothing to do with policy, we know it had everything to do with gender and race. That is a primary reason why there are some people that were cauterized to vote for a thug, a criminal, a convicted felon, because they figured that's their only choice. Because again, if you trigger certain carnalities within people, that's what you're gonna get. But secondly, the psychological warfare that was played on millions of Americans via the TV, via targeted marketing, whether it's by snail mail, whether it be internet and elsewhere, targeted, micro targeting. You know, Obama did some of that, but Obama micro target wasn't done in a deceitful manner with lies. What it did, what positive micro targeting does, is it puts a message with maybe a cultural fling, you know, maybe a class fling, so that the ad actually speaks to you. Because again, if you're a president for everybody and you believe in the tenets that you really support, you will be wanting your message to reach everybody, because hopefully everybody in your domain would be doing just fine. So folks, this was not rocket science. This is something that should be known. Unfortunately, many of the people who run these campaigns, they're not in it for necessarily winning or losing. Yes, they want to win, but they get paid whether they win or lose. It is the activists out there working for each of these campaigns and unpaid volunteers, the unpaid volunteers that are there busting their butts and feel the pain when all the work that they've done, they've lost. Just today, I got a call from somebody a good friend, who said they intended to start doing more. They're going to continue their activism, but was so down because of all the work they put in. And to her, it was work that was wasted. Of course it wasn't. Of course it wasn't. In fact, we have to stay in the game. We have to make sure to continue what was started. We definitely have to continue. Anyway, E2247, that is right. Those tactics were supercharged by AI. Exactly right. Lee, the Bearcat, says ads were run during football games too. I mean, her ads were too. You're right. But she was truthful. The ads that, as you've heard from the piece here, the ads that they ran on the other side were complete deceptions. They were outright lies, not maybe half truths. They were complete lies that got cauterized into many people's minds. So we have to be clear about that. Anyway, folks, we are a little bit over. Please remember to support the program. How can you do that? You can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. That gives you all the different forms in which you can support the program. But what I'd like to ask those of you who have the ability to do so, please become a paid subscriber of Politics Done Right. A paid subscriber of Politics Done Right. It gives you access to all of my books. How to Make America Utopia. It's worth it. It's how to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, as well as, well, you know, I've always been working on my weight, etc. So that book comes as well. And Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man is on that list as well. And of course, as I see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. You get all these books. All these books are a part of you becoming a paid subscriber of Politics Done Right. So just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber. You get that. I'm also going to start doing specialty live, little short lives at the Substack platform. Now gives you that ability. So, you know, these are different perks they give you to encourage others to follow and become paid subscribers of your newsletter. And that's what we really need to get hundreds more. Actually, a couple thousand would be great subscribers to our newsletter. It is what's going to allow me to get some assistance and reduce these 16-hour days, 7 days a week. We need your support. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I got to get out of here. You guys have a wonderful weekend. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.